pandemic got us into a reflective space and made us look inward to see what we can do for the world at large. As a self expression coach, I became a catalyst for women and started Vani, a one on one coaching program for women on finding their voice, to speak up, to be visible. As a storyteller, I spotted there were many ordinary people amongst us leading extraordinary lives, making a difference to the world, and they needed to be heard. Thus was born You and I with Rashmi Shetty, where amazing personal journeys with their uniqueness and individuality are showcased, a reaffirmation of the fact: open your eyes wider. The world is far more beautiful when we acknowledge the presence of both you and I. You and I with Rashmi Shetty will be celebrating women and the amazing work they do all of March. The first in the series is the inspirational Haimanti Sen, a 25-year-old social entrepreneur who's a psychology and sociology graduate from Mumbai University. She founded an NGO named Junoon in 2018 with the aim of helping underprivileged children to avail basic education. Junoon is a team of 9 members today and 30 volunteers, and they provide basic education to children living on the streets and slums in Mumbai through music, art, dance, plays, and other educational trips. Obviously, the execution of this idea was a challenge for her and her team. Where would she teach the children? Would their parents allow them to come? Would any school offer help? Despite all of this, she figured her way out. It did not end there. Whenever she would sit on a skywalk to teach the kids, local commuters would criticize her. One of them even ended up calling the cops. She wanted to give up sometimes, but the enthusiasm in the children's eyes kept her going. She and her team recognized the main areas that were affecting the overall development of children: nutrition, healthcare, education, and family dynamics. So they look at innovative ways to deal with the challenges like daily meals, health checkups, and family counseling, to name a few. Today, Haimanti is a speaker at the World Tolerance Summit, has won the Rex Karamveer Award 2019, the Teacher Warrior Award 2019, and has also been a TEDx speaker. She definitely is a role model for today's youth. Hi, Haimanti. Such a pleasure meeting you after reading about you online. Welcome to You and I with Rashmi Shetty. It's amazing to see the work that you have done. You're so young, and I'm very curious to know what drove you to be who you are today. So, before we get there, what was little Haimanti like is what I would like you to start with. So, welcome on board.
Thank you, Rashmi, for having me. It's really a pleasure every time I get to share the work that I'm doing, because that we are doing actually, because it needs awareness. You need to spread awareness about this, right? So I'm really honored to have this platform to share my journey with all your viewers. And so I'll introduce myself. I'm Haimanti Sen, and I'm the founder of Junoon Foundation. I started it back in 2018, but before we go into that, you already asked that, what little Haimanti was like. So I was very naughty, number one, very naughty. I did not like to study at all. But at the same time, I used to run away from studies. Like my mom literally had to force me to go for tuitions because I wouldn't study with her. And so I was very naughty, but I was a very compassionate child, right? Like I would always, want to be there for others, helping anyone that, I could see, being very compassionate and towards my brother when it came to teaching him, or sharing and all. My brother was not someone who used to share. Like obviously we were little kids, but I was always someone who would like to help others, be there for others, share my toys and all of that. So I was a very compassionate child. I was very naughty. And another thing was that I always liked to be around younger kids. And that has been me since a very young age. Like, ever since I think I was in second, third standard, I would always have, like, teaching my cousins or siblings. And I remember that when I was in the fourth standard, I got like my first job. Like, it wasn't a job, but in fourth standard, one of my aunties, she was conducting a summer camp for kids, and she asked me to be her assistant. Okay, and I got 500 rupees at the end of the week, so I was very, very happy. So I remember that I've always liked being there with children, teaching them. So these are three things that come to my mind: was very naughty, very compassionate, and I always like being around like children. So that is what I think.
Okay. Okay. And then where did naughty Hemanti go into as far as her career choice was concerned? How did you progress through school, college?
I
And
think, yeah, I think naughty, being a naughty child turned into being a rebel teenager and a rebellious adult with like all my life choices, right? I did not go the, way that everybody wants to, or, your parents want you to do. I always did what I thought was right or what made sense to me. And I think that because of that attitude, and the thing in me is that I have tried a lot of things and I've been through a lot of things, and I'm like understood the value in each thing, right? So, and that has only happened because I was always wanting to do things in a different way. So that is how that changed into rebellious. So when I was in college, I did my college in Mithibai. I completed my schooling from Lokanwala Foundation School, after which I went to Mithibai for my graduation and my high school. So over there, I wouldn't attend classes. I would like to stay with my friends more. So I was always like that. But at the same time, during that time, I'd started teaching at an organization. So I started properly working since I was like 17, 18. So I was working at an organization where my responsibility was to give tuitions to first graders, but they were like from a private school. And so anyway, so that's when I started. And in the same organization, there was obviously my boss had this other program going on called elocution training, where she would go to like these different schools and they would have like an in curriculum elocution program for students. So, and I really, really liked, like, everybody had told me that I have like a very good voice, like a teacher voice. So I really wanted to use it. And I would love, like, when I used to see my boss training the other, colleagues and all, I would really be, intrigued ki mujhe bhi karna hai. Even I want to do exactly what they're doing. So I asked my boss that, can I join? And she's like, listen, you're just 17 right now. So you turn 18 and then, we can get like you training and everything. So that happened. I got trained, and that was my first opportunity where I could go to a school and teach. Because before that, it was only like a tuition class or like a summer camp, like I was telling you, or teaching my brother. So that was my experience, right? But with this, I really got the experience of teaching in school, teaching like a class of 40 students, understanding how things work. And because I was never, like I was telling you, never wanted to study, so I always looked for like different things to teach. So even in elocution, there was no theory, and whatever I've taught is not much of theory in schools, that is. So we used to like just orally talk to the children, creative thinking. So I really enjoyed it. So I did that for 2 years. And this is when I was completing like my 11th, 12th, just after that. And then I took a year's break after that. And during that time, I was conducting tuition classes at home. And after that, I started doing my graduation in sociology and psychology. And at the same time, I was working at another place called Rangbhumi. So what Rangbhumi does, it's a theater group, and they also have a similar program where they go to schools and they have like an in curriculum drama and education, right? And that's when I really learned that there are so many things that you don't have to really explain to the children ki, you have to be self confident. you cannot explain that to the child. The child has to understand himself. And how do you do that? So there were like various activities to teach children core values, that's actually going to be with them for a longer period of time. And that's when I really saw that how many ways education can be used, and but at the same time, after working in schools and everything, I was not satisfied. That little bit of satisfaction was not there. Like, yeah, my mom was like, huh, you have to be a teacher, you go to school, teach, and this and that. But nay, like, I wasn't feeling like I loved. One thing I knew is that I loved working with children. So no matter what I do, I knew that I was going to work with children. But would it be in a school or would it be somewhere else? Was the question. So during the time that I was teaching at Rangbhoomi, and I was teaching at this school called Orchid International. So that time I was also completing my graduation in sociology and psychology, and I was reading about the right to education. And it just made me think that even after so many schemes that are already in place by the government, we see children begging at signals, we see children just loitering around during school hours. So why is that happening? What is the reason? And the thing is that living in metropolitan cities, all our lives we have seen children like this and families like this. But why are they like that? Was something that I think it was that first thought that led me like into this entire space. So
Oh,
that is how my career choice and my schooling and everything kind of went. And yeah.
okay. So this intrigue on what do these children do, how are they out during school hours and stuff like that, is a thought that occurred to you. And you were pretty young. You were what, in just completed graduation
I
at that
was
point.
21, 22,
Yeah,
I guess.
yeah,
Yeah.
21, 22. But what is it that stirred you to take it further into action? And were you not scared that when you're going to go and talk to these children, other people, they are very suspicious, the entire community around
Of
these
course.
children. So, was their reaction pretty welcoming when you saw? What did you do? You saw these children, you
So
felt
no,
bad for them.
I
What did you
was
do?
definitely, I was very scared. I was very scared. But like I did tell you before that I was always someone who will do what I want to do. Okay, so that is that nobody has been able to like change, and I really am proud of that fact, right? So what happened was when I was when I went, okay, I was like, okay, aaj after my exams got over, I was like, I'm going to venture out. I'm actually going to see what the situation is like, right? And so I went towards the station
Alone.
alone, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
So I went towards the station ka slums, and I went into the slums. And the thing is that our house helps and all are there, so they also live in like a slum or a chawl sort of a situation. So going and approaching and talking to them did not seem very difficult or did not seem very challenging. It was very normal. I would go, they live in houses anyways. You go speak to them, ask them if their children are going to school. But what I realized, okay, was most of the children in slums are going to school. Okay, they are availing of the schemes that are there in place by the government. Okay, but who are the kids who are not? Who are these kids who I see begging on the streets then or loitering on the streets? So that made me go a little further towards the railway station. So this was around the station. I went towards the railway station and I saw like a group of 10 children just sitting there. And I just knew that, they don't go to school. And basically back then my idea was not to start an NGO or like even to teach them for so long. My idea was, okay, these kids are not going to school. What I'm going to do is put them in school. That's it, because I thought kitna hi difficult hoga. You just have to go to school and get them admitted. I never thought a school could say no. Never, right?
Hmm.
So anyway, when I started, I went and I was very scared. I saw like the 10 kids sitting there and I saw like two parents. And I had never spoken. Like every time our conversation with beggars is like, "Haan, yahan se jao." We give them 10 rupees, they go. So that is the kind of thing. But when you have to go and talk to them as people, then you are also just like, my safety. How is it going to work? But still, you have to keep that aside. I went, I spoke to the parents, and I was like, "Are all these kids yours?" And they were like, no, none of them are ours. I was like, अच्छा ठीक है. तो I told her, introduce myself. I said कि मैं पढ़ाती हूँ यहीं पे, और मैं सोच रही थी कि मैं पढ़ाने के बाद स्कूल से आते टाइम बच्चों को कुछ ऐसे नया सिखा के I will go. So they were like, हाँ ठीक है, अगर आप ही उनको पढ़ा रहे हो, आप ही इनको कपड़े दे रहे हो, तो इनको स्कूल से निकाल के आपके पास भेज देते हैं. Because I'd asked them, do they go to school? And the parents are like, yeah, they go to school, but you can see and tell that they don't go to school. So I was like, ठीक है, you keep their routine on, whatever it is. I'll just come and I'll teach them something. But my idea was to like enroll them into school. But before that, I had to establish relationship with them, right? So that's what I started doing. I couldn't go every day, but I started going alternate days initially. Okay, और मैं उनको English सिखा रही थी, alphabets. But it was so, this number one, what I had never faced before that is, teaching a group of kids of all different age groups. Okay, now some are really small, some are a little older. So how do you teach all of them the same thing? Was like my first challenge. Because obviously some people are going to pick up faster, some people are going to pick up slower. So वो तो नहीं हुआ वो ABCD तो काफी टाइम तक उन्होंने नहीं सीखा. Okay, it was just, but during that time what we built was the relationship. We created a space where these children could actually feel that okay, somebody remembers our name. And I think that was their biggest thing, that they met me one day, they told me their name, and the next day I remembered it and I spoke to them. And when you see them as people, right, they will look completely different to you. Like they will not look like beggars at all, right? And I think that even today when people see me like walk with the children at the station and all, they do look back to see ki, how is this happening. But to everybody who's working at Junoon, and even for me, I think we have a very personal relationship with our kids and their families. Okay, and we would treat them as we would treat a friend, like talk to them, right? We would just do that. And we have seen that the parents have also, they respect us so much, even though they are pickpockets or whatever, because of their situation. We have never had, like none of the teachers or the volunteers have had a single thing stolen.
From that small little group of children who you saw and wanted to talk to and put them into school, when you went, how did you break ice with them? How did you open conversation? How did they warm up to you? Did you carry
So
some chocolates or something?
not really. So the children, what I've seen, right, what I've seen in them, they were very inviting. They were very excited. Ki, oh, there is somebody who is coming, to do something, because there are lots of people who come and all. No? So they were very excited, very inviting, very, welcoming, warm.
Where
Very
did you get them together? In the same place, near the station?
Yeah. They were all together. They were all friends. So they were all like from like 4 or 5 different families. They were all sitting over there, and yeah, they were very fast to open up. And so yeah, we created that kind of a relationship. And after which I approached a school. I think in like 2 3 months, I approached a school which was at the station only, and I went and I told them that look, I've been teaching these children. They need admission. So can we get them admission in your school? The principal was like, no, sorry, we can't. Some of the children over here have already attended school and they're dropouts. They use foul language, number one. They don't have any documents. Whatever items the school gives them on their admission, they sell it. They don't come to school for indefinite amount of time because they live out in the open, so they have like their. So she listed like 4 or 5 reasons, and she's like, no, we're not going to admit them. And I had already seen that if I put in some work in these children, they can do very well because they're very smart children, very smart. And I think that because of the situation they live in, they are way smarter than like a child who has grown up in the shelter of the four walls. So I had seen it, and that is when I took it upon myself. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take it upon myself to train these children so that when we go to school, nobody can tell these children that. I can vouch for them that they have been coming to me for more than a year. every single day, and after which I have come to school to admit these children in, right? So that is when I actually took it upon myself ki, this is what I'm going to do, and it is going to take some time. And that is when I kind of started thinking ki, how am I going to do it alone? There is so much to be done, how to do it alone. And that is when the thought of forming an organization came, like day after
Okay.
day. Yeah.
So here you are with a bunch of kids, 2 months into interaction with them. What did you do in that 2 months with them for you to have confidence that these kids are smart? They can pick up if they get into school, they will definitely get into the curriculum. What did
So
you play with them?
So what I did was, before that I was doing Rangbhumi, which was
Yeah,
like
yeah.
activity-based learning, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
that is what I tried to implement even over here. More kinesthetic activities where they could run, you know, talk. So there was a lot of talking. There was a lot of talking, even though there were studies. Like we would never like, because they had to even get into the feel of holding a pencil, writing, understanding. So we used to have storytelling so that their listening skills become better. We used to have activities where they could run around and be themselves. I would give them food like banana every day. So like little things. It was not like a lot of little things that added up to for them to feel safe. And one more thing that I think made them gain confidence in us is that we were always there. Okay, that every single day, even if there is one child, we would teach that one child, so that that child also doesn't feel ki, okay, if I am the only one there, the teacher is not going to conduct class. It shouldn't be that. If a child has gone to Gaon for say 2 3 weeks, they come back and they find us right there, right? And even the parents have seen it. So I think that is what has given the children the confidence to open up, and they also see that I was genuine, I love them. So, and I think that when they can see that love, you also get that love in return. And I like really treasure and respect that they chose to give me that love. So it's
Okay.
yeah.
So, Junoon was born from your Junoon because you were like completely adamant and you were sure you're going to do this. Was
But
the
it
name
was
from there?
also no, but it was also the children and their Junoon, right? To actually be there, to come, irrespective of whatever they go through during the day, to actually come to class and want to be better than what they are. So it was like a mix of both. It was
Okay.
definitely my go-getter sort of an attitude, and even their, incredible go-getter kind of personality. Now they can survive any situation. And it is very very inspiring to see. And the
Ah,
name was
yes.
not going to be Junoon, actually, honestly. I remember that when I was thinking about this, I was listening to this one song by the Owl Cities called Firefly.
The
Okay.
flash.
And I was like, what if, and that is when I was thinking about like children and kids and NGO and all. So I was like, should I name my organization Jugnu? Like But I was like, no, wait, that doesn't sound right to me. And then the closest thing was Junoon, right? And I thought that it really fit the whole thing. And Junoon also has a tagline, right? It's called guide, nurture and learn. And it works both ways, right? If we are guiding the children are also guiding us, and nurturing also. That I think I've learned so much from them, so much, right? And learning never stops. You learn every day, them from us and us from them. So it kind of made perfect sense to have that.
And okay, so the name was set. Then how did the rest of it fall in place with your volunteers and everyone else
So
coming in?
yeah, so I had to first, like, when I thought, okay, I want to start my own NGO, I needed a group of board members. So because for the paperwork and the registration, you need a group of people, right? So I approached my family and my friends who knew what work I was doing and who were willing to, like, help me out in the situation. So we were seven of us, and we formed the board. We got ourselves registered. And back then, what the board members did was they would give themselves one day and they would come with me to teach. So that is how the board members helped. And obviously, that wasn't the role of the board members, but them to be there, like, and it was such a passion project, like you don't know if it is going to work. You don't know if, and like everybody says, managing an NGO, starting an NGO, who does that? That's not a career, right? Is how are you going to earn money? Is the question. But none of the board members or anyone thought of it like that. They were like, okay, you really want to do this, we know you can do this, and we'll come and support you. And I think that meant a lot. And as time went, so that is how we formed the board. And then I would keep posting on Instagram. So, like my seniors, some of my juniors, they contacted, like my ex colleague from the first place, the tuition place that I was working at, she approached that, even I would like to, do this. So, I slowly started seeing that, okay, people do want to do this. People do see that, okay, this cause has some, credit, so that we can support her. So that happened. And I think the first time at midday came, and they had like a video where it was the real Santas of Mumbai, right? And they had featured me. So that is the first push that we got. So because of that, we got a lot of people coming, wanting to volunteer, wanting to join the cause, wanting to donate, wanting to, just support us, right? And since then, there were, touch wood, there were like a lot of articles and news channels who covered our story, because of which we were able to reach, right now where we are, from like that one center, and the 10 students along with me. Right now we are 5 centers with 85 students and 4 paid teachers. So like it is all yeah.
Wow, this is beautiful. This is really beautiful, Hemanti. And when you look back and you are connecting the dots of how it started, and where it has come, I'm sure the pattern is emerging for you as to where the thread turned one way and then formed a new design.
Of course.
So, are there any stories of children in this journey which continue to keep you motivated? I'm sure, even in spite of all of this, there are moments when you have your lows and you're wondering, should I? How long will I? And at that time, are there some stories that keep you motivated, saying, no, if it made a difference to this one person, then I'm sure it'll make a difference to somebody else?
So there are like multiple stories every day, and what keeps me going, or what like gets me up from bed every single day, is that not just one child, it's that every single child is trying their it is not easy for them. They
Yeah.
have all their household chores to take care of, they have their younger siblings to take care of, they have to get money for the parents, they have to do so many things. Even after that, they get up to come to class. So why can't I get up and go to them? And I have seen change. It is not that I haven't. Like, I remember there's one story that I like keep narrating, but it is actually very inspiring, where we enrolled the first batch of the 10 kids. We enrolled 6 of them into school. And one of the girls, we enrolled her in third standard. 3 children we enrolled in third. One of the girls did so well that she was felicitated by her principal. She had done so well in her exams, and that is when we were like, wow, now we know it in like writing that this works. You give them that time, you give them that attention, and it will work. Like, there is no, we haven't seen it work any other way. And today we are at a, place where most of our children are reading and writing. And that is what we want. Because the one thought that actually even made me start it is that we go to like an unknown place, right, to a different country, and we see so many billboards over there, so many signs written and everything, right, and we can't read it, we can't read any of it. We would feel very helpless. But imagine feeling like this in your own country and in the own area, in your own area that you're living. You can't read anything. You want to, because when I spoke to people, they said that the only thing that they wanted was कोई आके पढ़ा लिखा देता बस. ठीक है. So, and today when most of the children are reading and writing, I think that it is actually going to benefit them and our country. Like these children, if trained properly, they can really, really be useful citizens of our country and not end up like, their parents who are just exploiting them in a way. So, you know,
Yeah.
yeah, it is like all the children as a whole, like they get me up every day in the morning to do what I'm supposed to do. And I also love doing what I do. So, after teaching in the schools and everything, when I started this, I finally felt like this was the place. This is what I wanted to do. This is where I'm happy. And when all of this, when I started feeling everything, everything started, getting into play. I was getting volunteers, people wanted to donate, the NGO was formed, and everything was making sense to me, everything that, so yeah.
And in this journey of making sense, what were some of the questions that made you take a step back? Or were there any questions that made you take a
Of
step back
course.
and wonder?
Um, I honestly didn't think that it would last for so long. Even it's been 4 years, and I did not know what it was. And even when I started an NGO, I had no idea how I was going to earn money. And that is what, because obviously your parents want to see you, well settled and independent enough to take care of yourself and them, right? But I did not know when that was going to happen. I had no idea when that was going to happen. So that did, you know, make me take a step back. When I used to go to the center and see that, okay, none of the kids are there. All of the kids have gone. I was like, if this keeps happening, how am I supposed to keep up with the studies? What if everybody goes somewhere else? Who am I going to teach? Is it going to shut? Then if I want to expand, where am I going to expand? Who is going to do it? Can I be there at five places? I can't be there at five places at one time. So there were a lot of thoughts. There were people and passerbys when I used to teach at the center, who they would come and tell me, why are you doing this? It's a waste of time. They are going to be like this only. They are not going to change. So I think over time there have been a lot and lot of questions that have made me think twice. Ki करना चाहिए नहीं करना चाहिए, maybe should slow down, or maybe have a plan, get someone else. And but I didn't do any of that. I just kept going, and I'm very happy and I'm very glad that I did, because I have learned a lot. Like I know that NGO is not somewhere where you can't earn money. You can earn money because it's a job. You are teaching the kids. It is it is more difficult job than a teacher who goes to school and teaches. So that is why the teachers who we have them on paid basis, because we don't want a person to come and give their time, okay, and so much of their time without getting anything in return. The children are getting to learn. The teachers should also, right? So that is how we have been functioning.
Okay, a pause moment for you here. One question that one of the kids has asked you, which completely shocked you. One question which any of the volunteers asked you, which completely
So
kind of.
it wasn't a question that a child asked me. It is something that a child said to me, actually. So I remember that there was a fight going on between two ladies at the station, and it was like two parents only. And one of the ladies she had a brick in her hand that she was going to throw at the other lady. Okay. And I went and I held the hand of the lady, and I was like, what are you doing? Tried to stop her. One 7-year-old boy, okay, my student comes and tells me, टीचर आप यहाँ पे मत रहो, ये सब आपको नहीं देखना चाहिए.